Welcome back everyone to January 2026 layout update. A lot of work has gone into the layout this month. Let's get started and see all the progress that's been made. The first progress of 2026 is all the tracks that have been glued down in the industrial spur area of Barberton Yard. And then we head over and cross over into Barberton Yard, where all the tracks have also been attached and glued down. There are feeder wires to these 5 staging tracks here giving me power. I still have a little bit more wiring to do, but all the track is in and is operational. For Barberton Yard, we have 4 classification tracks, with one of them being a runaround track and then a single interchange track with the CSX Newcastle subdivision. Eventually, I will be getting Wheeling and Lake Erie transfer runs through here where they'll be dropping off cars that go to their yard. And as I said, I have a little bit of the electrical in, so trains are running with this. But let's sort of take a look into the industrial spurs on some of the operations that I'm expecting. So here we have another passing siding. This is for the trailing point spur on PPG Industries. This will allow me to switch the silica hoppers. I was playing around with one of my new locomotives. It's an Atlas 40B, I believe. Super cool. And then as we head into the industrial area, the back there is going to be the Continental Carbon company. It did close in roughly 2016 to 2018 timeframe, but I'm going to model it because I absolutely love the carbon black hoppers. In the forefront here is going to be PPG Industries, the silica output. So these cars are going to come in loaded, or come in empty and then be loaded with silica products before being sent out. Silica is very light, so most of the hoppers that are used today are 6200s. These here are only 51 or 5701 and 5800 hoppers, but I have a couple NCS, I think it's NSC 6200s from Walthers that I want to weather and put on here, label them for PPG for this point. And I was talking about the trailing point. This here is the only one where I have to do a trailing point. So you'll have to be able to run around your train to be able to put those cars into its spot. And then the last, let me get the focus. The last industry here is PPG Industries. This is going to be the one that takes all the different raw chemicals besides the sand to make silica. So part of the silica process is you need chlorine, which are my back 2 tank cars. Here up front is going to be sodium hydroxide. I don't love how there is no sodium hydroxide cars on the market currently, but I have a stand-in until hopefully someone makes it. You have sulfuric acid and hydrochloric acid in the back, and that is used to help purify the silica prior to shipping it out. So the way I'm envisioning this is I'm going to have a faux backdrop here and a building that's going to take this whole space. It's a big industry, and then there'll be something overhead that transports the silica off the layout where you can load silica into these covered hoppers. In the back is again, we talked about Continental Carbon. This is going to be one of the carbon storage air tanks. There's a big one in Barberton, Ohio that I want to replicate. And then I think I might hide some of this curve of the main line to make it look like a bigger building. So to recap an overhead view about how operations are going to work, trains will be able to come in and switch the chemical portion of PPG by leaving empty or to be spotted cars on this track. For Continental Carbon, same thing. You have a nice, easy switch point that will be able to switch your cars out. But the one that's going to get really difficult or challenging is going to be this silica spur right here, because there is only 32 inches of track here, and that will hold one SW1500 and two, maybe three, depending on the cars, the length of the cars that are in the spur and need to be spotted. So that's where this runaround track becomes super important to be able to do that operation. So I'm expecting a single operator to be able to do this one job on these three industries. It's going to, I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots. The way I see it is it's either loaded or empty carbon hoppers. I'm going to have 2 different grades of silica, low and high grade. I'm making those up, so I have technically 2 different spots. And then I have 4 different spots for chemicals between hydrochloric, sulfuric, sodium hydroxide, and chlorine. So this will definitely take a little while to do operations. My goal, I'm hoping today, is I have a test train down here that I'm going to do a little bit of operations to see if the track arrangement will work or if I need to do any modifications. In the middle of the switching operation here, as you can see, I've already switched out Continental Carbon. I have those cars on the back end there. Still need to switch out the PPG silica complex and the mill of doing the chemical complex. So far, no issues. I'm interested to see how this works. I think I might have to go all the way back to run on the train to get on the front end, but we're gonna have to see how it goes. Well, unfortunately, I was correct in my assumption, but I also realized I need to move these cars to the second track, not the first track, so that I had access to the yard and not only just the longest track, classification track. So we'll keep playing around with this, but I think this is a good arrangement. It's going to be complex and it's going to be difficult, but it'll make operators really think on how they're going to have their car movements. So from here, I'm going to take these 2 silica hoppers and switch them with these loaded ones. Then with that, the switching is done, and now all that's left is for 1501 to sort the cars into the classification yard so that they can go out on trains. So I think this will work. Play around with it. We'll see how it goes. Moving to the other side of the layout, I was able to get some plywood down for Akron and A. Schulman, and then also got the backdrops somewhat up for the other side of the layout. Also cut the backdrop for the South Akron yard and the plywood that the yard will land on. Everything's cleaned up, ready to go, so track work should begin shortly to be able to put A. Schulman in, which is just plastic pellet facility, and then working towards downtown Akron, Ohio, and then moving to the South Akron yard. This is going to be the final update for January 2026. I have added some turnouts and some flex track just loosely in there, and how A. Schulman is going to be laid out, and then also how the Newcastle sub main line is going to be. So with that, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next month.